that's a tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. I'm Dylan Blight. Joining me this week, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling all right. Why is it specifically today?
Because I'm seeing you today. How were you feeling yesterday, Dylan?
Not great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I can't say.
Oh.
I told you before. No, I can say. No, I can't. Work it out yourself, listeners.
Wink, wink.
I was at work yesterday, so that's why I was feeling bad. Yeah, there you go. That's the answer to all your questions. That's the answer to all your questions. All right, there is a lot of news to cover this week. I don't know.
Huge week.
It's been a very big week. Sometimes, obviously we was somewhat in the dry spell the last couple months, I feel, for which happens every year,
Yeah.
It was somewhat there, game here, there. Now games are starting to come out. But not only are games starting to come out now, but
News
stuff's
about
happening
games.
in the industry, some games are coming, some games are not coming anymore, but it's a bad joke.
Some games are sort of coming.
Some games are half coming, but we'll get to that we'll get to that in due time. The first thing I want to talk about is briefly what we've played last week. You got the Spider-Man plat, which we can
Finally.
you can explain your journey through in just a sec. I'd like to quickly pimp out the Guns Between, which I played on. Well, I mean, truthfully, I played it quite some time ago because they sent out the review codes quite early for that game. But that came out last week. Australian developed game. It was at PAX last year. Now PAX is this year's only a month away, so that all ties in very nicely. It's a really interesting game. I gave it an 8.5 in my review, which you can find in the description of this show or explosionnetwork.com, of course. But it's hard to explain because you don't actually control the characters, which is what makes it really interesting. So you got these two kids. They're best friends. They're somehow warped way. You don't really have an explanation. The game starts. They're on this island. What's going on? There's stuff everywhere, bits and pieces. It's these islands pretty much represent their memories to a degree, I guess. So you're traveling through their memories, their fondest memories, their darkest memories, just their memories. And the thing with the game is that you don't control them, you simply control time. And that's the only thing you get control of for a moment. You're not pressing any buttons, time's still. You press R2 or X or circle. There's basically only two buttons and they've mapped them to 8 different locations. You press R2, time starts moving forward, the characters start walking around the island. You press L2, time goes backwards, they start walking back the exact way that they just came. And that is how you solve the majority of the puzzles. And the majority of the puzzles come by means of a lantern that you receive after the first level, and the lantern can trap light in it. There's little light globes, and you need the light globes to activate bridges, to work your way around the islands, because each level ends with you getting to the top of each island, basically. And sometimes there are things that can steal the light, but you can put the lantern in a little critter, and then you move time forward, and that little critter will carry it up out of the way of things that could steal the light, and you go around. And of course, the puzzles get more complicated, but it did remind me of Braid, and I think it's the most, as I said in my review, it's the most interesting use of time I think I've seen in the game since Braid, because Braid was a really interesting. Braid used time mechanics really, really interestingly, because you could jump on an enemy, or like Mario style in Braid, and then rewind time, but you could have a certain thing happening where the enemy would still be jumped on. And this game has similar elements to that, where the further you get in, where although you're controlling time, some stuff is stuck in time, some stuff isn't stuck in time. It gets all very confusing. It's also very relaxing, which is, I don't know, when you think of puzzle games, do you think of them as relaxing or like?
Depends on the type of puzzle.
Yeah, I suppose. For me, whenever I think about puzzle games, I'm like, okay, puzzle game, that means I'm going to be wide awake, paying attention, getting annoyed when I can't solve it, I suppose, is the reason it leads me to think they're not going to be relaxing, because I figure if I can't solve the puzzle in due time, I'm going to start to get agitated at the puzzle, and then I'm not going to be happy, and so it's not relaxing.
Yep.
This game is very relaxing. The puzzles are just the right difficulty that I never got super frustrated at them, but it's also just very calming, and art style is very beautiful, and they've got this very relaxing soundtrack, and then because you just kind of move time backwards and forwards, there's no super in-depth stuff happening. There's, you press the pause menu, all of a sudden the music just keeps playing, and the camera just warps around the island, showing all the beautiful art they've got in the game. It's like, so it's a very relaxing experience. And music-wise, it also has a song that plays in the end credits that is really good. And when I finished it, I went looking for it on Spotify because I was like, this is a fucking great song. And it was by an Australian artist. I can't remember the name now. Tim, it's in my review, but I can't remember the exact name of the artist. But I went looking for it. I was like, what the fuck? I can't find this song. When I messaged the developers, the voxel agents, and they said they actually got it made for the game. So I was like, oh, wow, great hit. Because I thought it was just a song used in the game. I was looking for it on Spotify. There you go. Great. Good game, though.
Cool.
It's also available on Switch and PC, depending on where you would like to play. But you want to play it on PS4 because...
Yeah, because you're listening to Platinum Explosion, the number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias.
That's the one.
Ben Abraham is the artist.
Sure. No, that's the composer.
Okay.
The other person's like Tim something. I think it's like towards the bottom. It's one of the bottom paragraphs.
Oh, Tim Shield.
There you go, Tim Shield. Right. Thank you.
How are you going to hear the song? I guess you just have to play the game.
Yeah, just have to replay the last level a bunch. Listen to that song. Very peaceful song. There you go.
Or they can release one of those little vinyl things like other people do.
I'd buy it. I'd buy it.
Just
buy
the one song.
Buy it for a hot $1. Well, no, don't support this game because it's really, really good, and then also support it because it's an Australian dev. So that's the two ticks for you. Yeah. But Spider-Man wise, since we cannot go a week without at least bringing it up once, and I mean the DLC is out in so we might get like two episodes of no Spider-Man talk after this. Maybe. We'll see. See how we go. But your platinum run.
Got it.
You got the platinum.
Success. I did get it after Nick though, which is...
Yeah, apparently he's
very pleased.
Yeah.
I don't think Kieran's got the plat yet.
No, he's the only one letting down the Explosion Network
currently
when it comes to Spider-Man Platinums.
It's not coming back on the show until he gets that platinum.
He's failing at the Spider-Man plat, and he's failing at his plat trophy war goal, hashtag whatever Michael.
Yeah, he's probably forgotten.
Well, probably has. What after I said everything about the tediousness of it and everything like that, what do you reckon the hardest factors were or anything like that?
Just doing all the random crimes.
Yep.
It was a little frustrating, but
so boring by the end of it.
Yeah,
so boring.
Although swinging around's still fun, but
I know, but come on.
You wish you just have a way of just automatically doing it.
Just like some way to say, just give me one, just make a crime happen or something. And when you first start the game, you're like, oh, these crimes are progress. They have variation and they're fun every time. And then when you start doing them for that trophy, there's like 3 variations and fuck them. I hate them.
There's like 6 variations of each one. And then, yeah.
You get sick of the same animations happening for everything. And
yeah. Although, because I was doing it, I just sort of tried out more of the different gadgets and the moves that I probably was not using as much when I was playing through the story. So
yeah, it's like, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
What I did was I forgot to mention this. I think last time was when you get further into the game, you unlock the secret photos.
Yeah.
So what I was doing was while I was trying to do the crimes of progress, I was just trying to find all the secret photo locations. That was what was keeping me sane, somewhat trying to do them. Although sometimes it would be really annoying. I'd be trying to work out where exactly I'm trying to take a photo or what I'm trying to take a photo of at this photo location. And then all of a sudden the crime progress would go off and I'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake. Well, I can't stand here. So then I put a map marker down where I'm currently standing, or like right next to me, as a reminder of where it's going to be. Swing off, do crime in progress, and then come back to do the secret photo thing. Yeah, but Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm going. How do you, the one thing? How would you have felt if you hadn't have been warned about the upgrading the gadgets and all that stuff? About having the
I would
free.
have gone crazy. Doing
Do you reckon you would have done it?
Maybe. Depends on how many I would have needed to do.
I reckon
if it's like all of them.
I think you would have needed to 3-star all of them if you'd used
There's
a
no
certain
way.
amount.
I think it's impossible.
It's impossible. Well, yeah, that's the one way you can really fuck yourself in that platinum is those damn challenge things, whatever they're called in game. All right, let's move on to get into some actual news. Talking about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the fastest selling first party PS3 title. It's now sold 3.3 million units in its first 3 days. Shocking?
Not really.
No.
I mean, a massive comic book character that everybody knows on the biggest platform. After a sort of lull of big AAA games, it's sort of the perfect storm.
Yep. Now, the question is, how soon is the sequel out?
I don't know. Insomniac's they're pretty quick. I mean, they've only been working.
They want to be
3 years. I think I've heard they've been spending on this game. So,
and 2.5 of that was working on the swinging mechanics.
Yeah. Everything else came together in 6 months. Yeah. So I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that it's like another 3 years away, which isn't too long when you consider other AAA games have massive gaps in between. From a single studio, obviously. Not like your CODs and that, but...
Yeah. I'm going to say 2020.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I feel
I guess the hardest part is they've made the city. I mean,
yeah.
So you can improve it a little bit, but the basis is there.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the thing. It's like all the base elements are there. The swinging mechanic that they work so hard to try and get down. What you can tweak it a little bit, maybe if they want to make some slight changes, but it's there. It's done. You've got the city. You want to change it up a bit, add some stuff in. Obviously, sure. But they've already built the bare basis, and you can just copy paste that over. I feel, and then build on top of the New York map. I guess, especially because it's like where all the locations for stuff are on the map, like the Matt Murdock's law office and whatever else, all these places that you
Easter
can
eggs
find.
And stuff.
Easter egg stuff, yeah. You don't want to accidentally fuck up where that is, I feel.
Yeah.
So just copy pasting the blueprints and then, going on from there is the way to go. And, there's hot property right now. Spider-Man's big stuff. Selling out hotcakes when it comes to actual comics. Obviously, a big deal in the film. If this animated film, what's it called? Into the Spider-Verse. If that comes out and that's as good as everyone's hoping and it looks to be, Spider-Man's just going to continue to skyrocket at the moment as the comic book character, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, if you push making it too long, it's a PS5 game then. So you can get out the second of the supposed trilogy still on the PS4, and then I suppose the third one would be on PS5 at that stage, or the second one and third one end up on PS5 if they take that long. But from everything we've read and what they seem to have taken most of their time on, I find it hard. I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't be able to do it in 2 years if they wanted to.
Yeah, I guess so.
If they want, and with the
it just depends on the story and that sort of thing as well. Yeah. But they've obviously got an idea of what they want to do for the second game, so.
Oh, definitely. They just thread through so many different plot elements in the first
Listen to
one,
our spoiler discussion on explosionnetwork.com, youtube.com/explosionnetwork.
It's there as well. There's also a podcast feed.
Yeah.
Search Explosion Network
review discussions by Explosion Network.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. So one of the big announcement, I suppose, when it comes to PlayStation last week was that they have announced they're doing a PlayStation Classic, which is basically a PlayStation 1 mini except for the word mini is nowhere to be seen in any of the press releases.
It's because Nintendo copyrighted the word mini.
The word mini, yeah. But you still just want to call it. It's the PS1 mini. I mean...
PS1 tiny.
Yeah, it's the PS1 tiny console thing. So it's going to be 150 Australian dollars. Comes out December. So far, they've announced 5 of 20 games. How do you feel about it? Do you care?
I wasn't a PlayStation 1 person, so not overly. It looks cool, but I don't need it.
No. And as someone who grew up on the PS1, I still don't really care. Well, it's just this. It's also I agree with a lot of the sentiment I was reading around the announcement, with people pointing out the fact that, and this it's one of these things where sometimes someone points out something and you're like, "Fuck, you're right." Actually, fuck you, Sony. What are you doing? You know, when someone points out, because people were pointing out all these interviews of Sony talking about, backwards compatibility. No one wants to play old games. Just play new games. That's why we're not doing backwards compatibility. No one wants to play old games. Fuck off with your backwards compatibility. But buy this $150 thing full of fucking really old games.
Yeah, they don't want to play old games on their PS4. They want to play it on this tiny console that you plug into your TV with
It's ridiculous. It's
a controller without DualShock.
Yeah, well... That's the other interesting thing. They didn't do the PS1 with the DualShock, so you could put Ape Escape on it. Because people are asking for that. Like, Ape Escape, I'm like, you can't. You need the analog sticks to play Ape Escape. Ape Escape was a game, I had the demo for Ape Escape on PS1, like on a demo disc, and I couldn't play it at the time. I just had the normal PS1 controller,
with the D-pad.
And you couldn't swing the net. You could move, you could interact, but the second you got to catching the first monkey in the game, it's like, move the right analog stick. And I'm like, look, I can't. I don't have it. I don't have the right analog stick. I don't know what you want me to do. How do I help you? Yeah, I can't say I'm too enthused. I mean, I'm sure it'll sell like hotcakes because...
A collector's item.
Yeah, collector's item. As time has proven again and again with these Nintendo, the NES and the... What was it? It was NES and the SNES? And the
NES and the SNES.
Yeah, NES and
maybe the
SNES.
N64.
Yeah.
If rumors are to be believed.
Oh, God. People love their nostalgia. People love their collectible items. People buy these things up. Now, here's what they could have done. Instead of being, big negative Nancy about this, is that it's like, what could they have done, Dylan, to get you excited about this? Look, if they include 15 of the 20 games that would make me super happy to have, maybe I'd buy it at that stage. But that includes sticking shit on it like Croc Legends of the Gobbos, Medieval 2, so I've got that sitting next to my Medieval 1 remake, all the Siphon Filter games, which ain't going to happen, so I'm probably not going to buy this. What they could have done to make it more interesting than Nintendo's variations of their minis, and to make it more in line with PlayStation and their brand and everything like that, would have been, it can connect to the internet.
Yeah.
It has PlayStation trophies. It has online leaderboards for the games that you can put them in. You can play online, or just full stop at that even. That's some kind of basic stuff I feel wouldn't have been too hard to include in it. It's like, how hard is it to stick trophies in these games? That would probably require the most work, I feel, compared to even the online leaderboards.
Yeah,
because unless some of these games have
like an achievement system built in.
Achievement system, you can't just add it on. So that would take the most work. But at the same time, is it too much work? Is it? I guarantee this would have sold way better, and people would have been way more impressed with it if it had trophies. And it plays more into Sony being like, look, it is a classic console for a bunch of old games, but you're going to be able to it's going to connect up to the internet, because Nintendo's don't connect to the internet, because Nintendo doesn't know Nintendo only found out 2 weeks ago that the internet existed.
They only just realized they can charge you for online service.
They only just realized they can charge you for the internet. So, and then online leaderboards, something that 2009, 2008 people get excited about. These days, if a gameplay features online leaderboards in a PS4 game, you're like, yeah, okay. Why? Like, of course it is. I wouldn't have expected otherwise. You have online leaderboards for games. That's with score-based things. That's just how stuff works. However, you put online leaderboards in this for Tekken single player, what they've announced so far, on leaderboard for speed running Final Fantasy, your total gameplay time or some shit like that. But there's options here to make this more interesting than it is now, I feel, because as it is, sure, it's a cool collector's item, and if I had infinite amount of money and it was obviously just no problem, I'd buy one. Why not? Why wouldn't you? If money's not a problem, buy one. I'm sure it'd look cool sitting on your shelf. I'm sure it's like it would be a very cool item to play around with. But at the same time, I am on that board of when the fuck am I going to have time to play 20 PS1 games? And when am I going to have an
15 that you don't know of?
Yeah, and 15 that we don't even know of yet, which was the other thing
that is the weirdest. Why just announce everything?
Yes, I agree. It's like maybe if this was announced in February, you'd be like, okay, they've got till December. They'll announce 5 every 3 months or what have you. But announcing it a couple months ahead of its schedule, it's like, okay, I understand you want people to buy this for Christmas for families and stuff. That's the audience you're going for. You're going for the whole, hey, the uncles buying it for their grandchildren, whatever, fucking nephews. I can't remember the fucking word. Oh my God. Families are hard, Ash. I tell you what, you got your uncles, you got your cousins, you got your nephews, you got your uncles and mothers.
Sometimes
and
they're both.
And both. Sometimes your mother is just done. You don't want going on. But they are trying to go for that audience, I feel, of the uncles buying it for their nephews as, here are the games I used to play, kids, like something along those lines. Or parents buying it for Christmas presents for their kids and then be like, here are the games we used to play and now we can play them with you. We plug this in, 2-player, yay, great Christmas time. But why can't you just announce all the games to start off with? And you know what I don't? So a million podcasts and videos and articles all promote their product for free by doing the 15 games we want in the PS1 Classic. I'm not even shitting on people that are doing that because, it's
content.
It's content. It's the business.
I read some.
The module. Yeah, of course you did. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying people shouldn't even make them. But that is obviously what they were aiming for out of this. And that's what they got. So,
cool.
Good job.
So what 15 games do we want now?
Siphon Filter 1, 2, 3, Crash Team Racing, Croc Legend of the Gobos, Medieval 2.
It seems weird also because they've just done the Crash remaster. They're about to do Spyro. They're doing. They got the Medieval in the works. They just did the Parappa remaster.
Yep. And you know what's going to piss me off?
What?
Any of those games on this.
Yeah.
Any of those games on this. They're like, here's Crash. Fuck off. Here's Spyro. Fuck off.
Why? Don't you want to play it in its original format?
No. I could pull it up. I could fucking buy the PS1 Classic off the... Oh my God.
What if they decide, they say, here's a catalog of games. You can download any 15 of these.
Yeah, fucking right. But that would be a lot cooler.
That would be a lot cooler.
That would be a lot cooler. And one of the final things on this, big is something where I'm straight up not a fan of Final Fantasy 8. However, I would have rather Final Fantasy 8 on this than 7 because I feel like 7
apparently it's like licensing issues, I heard. Because apparently...
Still like, what?
I don't know. I haven't played Final Fantasy 8, but apparently that's why it's barely anywhere. It wasn't mentioned on the Nintendo where they were releasing every single Final Fantasy game, it seemed, onto the Switch.
Here's what makes this worth buying. Final Fantasy Tactics. That is the game.
Ooh, that would be good.
That is the game. If you want to know what one makes $150 worth it, Final Fantasy Tactics. That's the answer to all your questions. All right, let's move on before we do the making the 15 games we want list. PS Vita's officially dead. RIP. Rest in peace. Loved you, but now I'll miss you forever. Sony has announced this at TGS. Well, they haven't really announced it. It just was it was kind of a thing that just happened to be said at TGS this year. So
they didn't have a funeral at the...
No, but I feel like we should do a special episode now.
Yeah.
Officially, like in the future, the official...
The last day that they manufacture.
Something like that.
That's when shut you can down do the Vita plant.
You can officially do the top 20 Vita games of all time type lists and, memories, stuff like that.
I mean,
might be the way
technically games will still be made or could still be released for it.
Yeah, but
it's just they're not making it.
Once they're not making it, it's dead. So the story comes from Six Axis, where they wrote, "This was confirmed by Sony Interactive Entertainment Senior Vice President." Here we go, Ash. It's a fucking name.
Yeah.
Hiroki Oda. At Tokyo Game Show, you've also addressed the possibility of a successor to the console. Quote, "Currently, we do not have any plans regarding a new handheld device. In Japan, we will manufacture PlayStation Vita until 2019. From there, shipping will end." Dun, dun, dun. So the other takeaway from the story is obviously, you can market it as it's officially dead in Japan, but it being dead in Japan means it's also dead everywhere else because that's where they make the
that's
fucking
the
things.
only place they were selling.
And the only place that was selling them and making games for them and visual novels were basically keeping it alive in Japan, I feel, to a degree. That's where a lot of the market for it was, I suppose. But, obviously, I was a big Vita fan. I haven't really played my Vita much in the last couple of years. I don't feel bad about saying that because the Switch came out, and ever since I had my Switch, I can't imagine being like, well, I'm fucking playing my Vita, or, Sony fucked the Vita themselves. There's no one else really to blame. I mean, maybe more people brought it. Sony cares about it more, but Sony didn't support that thing as well as they could have after its first couple years, and it dwindled off into this Japanese market of visual novels and stuff in the last few years. Before then, when it was still going rather well, it was obviously everyone's indie handheld machine, and it was doing well with that, and that's why that's where I was playing a lot of indie games. Obviously, I feel like a lot of people were playing their indie games on the Vita, but even that died off in the last couple of years, and that's when I feel
well, let's
surviving
face it,
in Japan.
The Switch killed what was left of the Vita's audience.
Yeah, yep, very much so. I would still like a Vita too, though, obviously, because I'm a Sony person and I like the Vita and I like being able to end trophies on the go.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen at this stage. So I feel like the only way we ever get a Vita 2 is if PS5 comes out and the main PS5 module is like the PS5 Pro, like it's the high quality one, and then there's a PS5 that's not as strong, but it's kind of like a Switch hybrid, something along those lines. Which if they did something like that, I'd be like, fucking, I'll buy 2 PS5s on day one. Thank you very much.
If they're going to do it, they'd have to launch it with the PS5.
Yeah,
like they were trying to do with the PS3.
Well, there's been rumors and leaks of but I can't remember the word. What's the word? Like blueprint documents. Like
yeah,
can't remember. I keep trying to say pageants, but I'm like, it's not pageants because that's a
trademarks.
Trademarks. But yeah, so there's been stuff like that. But there was even stuff like that, like the other week for apparent PSVR version 2 modules and stuff. But and that was for PSVR that was wireless, which I still think's years off.
Yeah.
And I could believe that what was leaked is true. But the thing is, yeah, they're probably trying to work out how to make VR wireless. But just because there's documents showing that they're working on it doesn't mean they're actually close to making it a possibility, or especially something that's marketable. It's like, okay, they made PSVR wireless. Yeah. How much would they have to sell it for? $2,000 a unit? Okay, well, that's not something they can build and market and sell. It's not the question of is it possible to make VR wireless? It probably is. Is it possible to make VR wireless
and make money?
and people want to buy it? That's where the problems come in. It's like, can they build a PS5 hybrid console Switch type stuff? Is that what they're working on? Yeah, probably. They're probably kicking around ideas like
there's
that.
There's probably like a room somewhere in PlayStation headquarters where Mark Cerny and a bunch of other people are just throwing shit at a wall.
Yeah, that's what I figured, Mark. That's Mark Cerny's job.
That's what he does now. That and preparing NAC 3.
Yeah. Our Lord and Savior. And just hanging around with Hideo every now and then. Being like, oh, it's a great game, Death Stranding. Yeah, it's a great game. I've played it. It's really good. Knack 3, though. Hideo, want to come do that?
Oh, Matt, what if Death Stranding is really Knack 3?
Please. Please, no.
All little pieces like fall away and reveal Knack.
That'll be the biggest troll ever, and I'd be quite happy at this stage if that happened, actually.
Knack is the baby.
Knack's the baby. Another piece of interesting news that came out this week, only a couple of days ago, was PlayStation Now, which is the streaming service we don't have available in Australia, and it didn't really matter up until now, I feel. Now, there you go. It's in the title. Got it? Get it? Now. PlayStation Now lets users download games instead of just streaming. So I feel like this news is getting under-talked about, under-shared. I feel like it's a lot bigger of a deal than people are making it out to be, because I would say one of the best things Xbox has going for it at the moment is Xbox Game Pass.
Let's face it, it's the only thing going for them at the moment.
Well, yeah, I mean, and although PlayStation Now isn't exactly the same, because Game Pass, Xbox doing this whole thing where they're saying, you know, all our big first-party games are going to be on their day and date.
Yeah.
The Game Pass crosses over with Windows, all sorts of things. However, PlayStation now letting you download games as well as just streaming them is putting it somewhat in line and competition with Xbox. Game Pass.
Yeah.
In that particular department. And Game Pass is something that costs, I think it's $12 Australian. Yeah, I think it's like $11.95 a month in Australia. And I didn't do the conversion real quickly, but off my head, because it was $9.99 a month USD, which in my mind is probably, you know, the same as Game Pass, I suppose, or $12 or something roughly.
It's probably like $15.
Yeah, but they're close to being the similar sort of money. And although it's not in Australia yet, it didn't matter until now because we wouldn't have the internet capable of streaming.
It would have been terrible.
Mm-hmm. And barely anyone used it in America as it was, because it was still apparently didn't run that great. This is, of course, the Sony brought up Gaikai, whatever it's called, Guy something. A couple years ago, they announced it was at E3. It's like, streaming-based service, which all sounded cool technology. I'm sure, in principle, it's a great idea.
I'm sure if you live in Japan and you've got awesome internet, it works great.
It's fantastic, and you have a great time doing it. And
if you work at Google, it works perfectly.
Yeah, with your minus 20 ping or something. Yeah, it's better than perfect. But yeah, in Australia and where we are, obviously, when they announce something like that, you're like, cool. That's great. So up until now, I hadn't even cared if they brought PlayStation Now here, because even if they announced it, I'd be like, okay, whatever. What's it matter? Don't fucking care. But now that they've announced this, I'm like, okay, when are you announcing that it's coming to other countries? Because if we don't have it, I'm going to assume there's a bunch of European countries that don't even have it, and so on and so forth. So now I'm expecting the announcements in the next couple of weeks of then start rolling out more places across the world, surely after you've... Or I suppose they let this news roll around, see how it goes with the current audience, seeing if the player base picks up, make sure there's no problems and so on and so forth. But then I can see it rolling out, and it piques my interest, because at the moment there are some of those PS2 games that you can see on the store that they've added, trophy support for, and they've up-resed a little bit and those sorts of things. That some afternoons I've been like, I've got 3 hours to spare. I don't really feel like playing anything in particular, but you're like, I would love to jump into Grand Theft Auto Vice City for 3 hours, or Bully, or a bunch of these PS2 games. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm not going to pay $20 for that. No. I don't really pay $20 for that. I've played it before. I brought it years ago, obviously. I don't really pay for that now. And then I end up playing something else. However, if I could say pay $15, cancel the subscription whenever I want, or whatever, or even just be as hefty as to say, fuck it, I'll put down $100 or whatever for the year and just be like, whatever, it's done. Then I've got access to all these PS2 games that I might want to kick on for a couple hours every now and then, along with the PS4 selection. Yeah, I can see it's something I'm interested in. Yeah. And I believe you can download an app to your PC as well. And then, because they announced that like last year at some point, it was, hey, there's an app for PC now, so then you can stream these games straight to your PC as well. So if you can download them, and this is something I have double checked, if you can download them to your PC as well through the same app, yeah, there's going to be an audience for it, I believe. Yeah. And if they really want to make this a lot better and really be in competition with Game Pass, they need to start adding PS3 games. That's where they get people's money.
Yeah. I think you add PS3, that's a massive catalogue of games.
Yep. Yeah. But I suppose the thing here they have to look at is their PS1 classic thing showing that they're suddenly realizing that people have a care in playing older games and nostalgia factor or whatever, or is it so simply them cashing in on something that Nintendo did really well? It could be either. It could be a little bit of both, obviously.
Yeah, I'd say both.
Yeah. And then that's not what it says. Are the signs adding up with them now announcing that they're going to, add the downloading to this service, which I feel like for a long time, they could have done this a long time ago, I feel, but they were so riding on that. Oh, we paid for the Gaikai. We got to make this work. And they've finally just been like, fuck it. Obviously you can still stream them if that's an option. But they've just added the
download
option there, and they've finally given up on, well, not given up. They've just finally said, we'll add it as an option. Hopefully this shows that they're coming around and more towards the whole backward compatibility, and maybe not straight up backwards compatibility, but slowly working around to adding like PS3 games to PlayStation now and stuff like that. Because I was saying, if they bring that to Australia, I'm already kind of interested with the ability to pay $15 for the PS2 games. If by the time it comes around to here, they've already announced that they're going to start adding PS3 games, and that I guarantee it does really, really well. PS2 games, PS3 games, plus a selection of PS4 games. Yes. That's what we want.
It is.
And the other thing that's really good about it is if Sony does that, then Xbox, who Game Pass isn't shit. Game Pass is a really great service. But if Sony comes around and all of a sudden they've got their service and it's good or really good, all of a sudden Xbox is like, fuck, now I've got competition. So Xbox has to step up what they're putting on their service. And then so does Sony. And this is where the competition in the games industry is actually good. You always hear these people say, why can't there just be one game console? It's like, well, if there's only one, then who's there to make the other people step their game up and do stuff? That's why there actually has to be competition in industries to make people want to push and do things. And if Sony comes around and Xbox has finally pushed, then they get to do the whole back forth, make sure their platforms and their services are working really well. And I like the idea of a future where all future game consoles heading into the next generation do have these services where we can pay for these Netflix-like subscription services for video games. Would it be something you're interested in though? Like this?
Maybe. There's no like PS2 or PS3 games that I'm like desperately wanting to go back and play. But I'd like the option. I mean, it's better that I guess it makes more sense that they do this than just sit on that catalog of games that's pretty much doing nothing. I can't imagine they're selling very many in the store. You might as well get a bunch of people paying $15 a month.
Yeah.
For all these games that you're just sitting on your servers or whatever.
Well, there's so many of those PS2 games on the PlayStation Store now. I remember when they announced it thinking, yeah, that's a cool idea, but I probably won't buy any of them.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure a lot of people felt, the same as that, similar responses. That's cool, but no. I'm not paying for those. Because the problem is, it's like, if I could look at the list of PS2 games and say, here are 5 that I would like to play, then all of a sudden paying for a 1 year of PlayStation Now is good to go, because if 5 of those games are $20-something each to buy, or you can pay $100 for a yearly subscription and get those 5 games plus whatever else gets added within the year and whatever else is already available, you're like, okay, yeah, I'll subscribe, because you can play them and be done and go on and go forth. The last thing I'd say on this if anyone from Sony is listening, make deals for it, tie it in the PS Plus. You know, PS Plus members get 10% off their subscription to PlayStation Now, or something along those lines. That's where you get everyone going their money, because you get people who aren't even PS Plus subscribers that may be interested in PS Now. Because the good thing about PlayStation Now is if you're playing any games on Now that have online stuff, you don't actually need a PS Plus subscription, which is quite good on Sony to say, you know, you're already paying for this service. You don't need to pay for both. But if all of a sudden it's like, well, if I get PS Plus, then I can get this for cheaper. So, fuck it, I'll get both. Yeah. Oh, you can subscribe to both and get 25% off the price of both of them together. Then, hell yes, I'll subscribe to both.
Yeah.
I didn't go to marketing school, but come on. Figure your
makes
shit
sense.
Out. It makes sense to us. Okay. Another thing returning, announced only today of recording, yesterday if you're listening on day of release, was that PlayStation Plus Platinum Hunters, which is a mouthful, is returning. So this was something that happened last year. I can't remember the exact games. It was like, what was it last year? Battlefield 1?
FIFA 18, Battlefield 1.
Yeah. What else? I can't remember. Was it Call of Duty last year as well?
I feel like it was was Gran Turismo?
Gran Turismo, probably. Yeah, that was out around
I think Call of Duty.
The same time.
Something like Call of Duty.
Yeah. So if you don't know what this was, they first did it last year. It's a cool concept. I never actually saw pictures of anyone holding these trophies though, so I don't know if they even exist.
I know somebody did get the first one, yeah.
Okay, someone actually got them. So it's if you're a trophy hunter and we're called Platinum Explosion. It's real life platinum trophies that they're giving out to people who can 100% and platinum particular games the fastest. So it's competition for trophy hunters, which when they announced it last year, and my thoughts still stand, really cool. Wish I had time, effort to do one of these games, because it's obviously something I would cherish and shine every single day for the rest of my life, I feel. So the games you can try to earn one of these esteemed platinum trophies, not only virtually, but physically.
It's a physical trophy.
Yeah, it's a physical trophy. FIFA 19, which is out on the 25th of September. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, 12th of October. Fallout 76, which is out on the 14th of November. Battlefield 5, which is out on the 20th of November. And then also the weirdest one I found, which was Anthem, which is out the 22nd of February. I was like, oh yeah, Anthem's coming out soon. That's right, yeah.
Well after all of the other ones.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Yeah, you got that Activision deal. They're
that's probably the most interesting one, because that's like they've been buddy with Xbox, haven't they?
No, not this generation.
Well, they've only been showing Anthem at the Xbox stage, but I guess PlayStation didn't show anything. So
Call of Duty's got PlayStation exclusive, like Windows for stuff that they were talking about this week and everything. So I imagine that's where it comes. But then it's also like, well, okay, EA's in there, obviously. So it's like the Bethesda. So how exactly these games are chosen and deals, but it must be, I presume, in favor of the publishers saying maybe we get 2% extra interest from people buying these games solely to try and get the real trophies. I don't know. Maybe you'd say that's crazy. Surely no one's picking up games they wouldn't even play to try and get a real life trophy. Yes, they are. They 100% are. I can guarantee people who've never played FIFA try and fucking brought a FIFA last year to try and get a real platinum trophy. It's a thing. It would have happened. But yeah, I mean, that's it. To win, all you gotta do is get all trophies, unlock the platinum, and then you just tweet out the picture like you usually would if you're a trophy hunter anyway. You tweet out the picture of your
PlayStation,
your picture and your picture, and you tag PlayStation. Use the hashtag plus platinum hunters. So yeah, I mean, unless one of these people want to send me a review copy of any of these games, including FIFA,
but I assume you have to start after the game comes out.
Nah, fuck off. There's no rules.
I'm pretty sure there are rules.
Nah, there can't be rules. No rules.
Otherwise, media would have all the trophies.
Yeah, no one in media is a trophy hunter, you know?
Not in Australia, anyway.
Yeah, apart from me.
Please tweet at Viva La Dill if you're If you disagree, tag all the other trophy hunters who would possibly get a platinum as well.
There you go. But if you want to try a luck at that, feel free. Go for it.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. All right. Also at TGS this last week, we got another Death Stranding trailer. I don't even know if you'd call it a trailer. It was more of a
snippet.
It was a snippet of
cutscene.
It was what do you call anything from this game? It was something in a video form, and it was there, and it was basically a cutscene. And that was it. It was like a minute. So we got introduced to Troy Baker's character, which is called the Man in the Golden Mask, or the Man in the Mask, one of those variations.
I don't know.
And it's just Troy Baker, really. He's not doing a funny voice or.
It didn't look like him though, but it was hard to tell.
Yeah, but he summons a Digimon or a Final Fantasy summon or something like that, a Cerberus demon out of the ground, and. Norman Reedus' character's over there. Someone's stuck to his back. Look, I'm trying to carry this thing across the swamp to, I got a baby on my chest here. I got these other Mads Mikkelsen monsters trying to get me. Can you just fuck off with your Cerberus summon? What the fuck is going on? Everyone freaked out. Yeah. Look, obviously I've said on the show several times before, I enjoy the Death Stranding, the proper trailers that we get. I do find them interesting to deal with. This, however, everyone tweeting this going, oh my God, look at this and stuff. Fuck off. This was shit. I don't care for this one little bit. This is bad. Don't care.
I don't know. It looked fine.
I
think there's going to be running in the game. We can now confirm there's going to be running in the game because you're definitely going to be running away from that.
Yeah, well, that is a good point. It's not like it's not bad. It's not like I watched it and went, oh, there's anything that stands out here that's bad. It's like, okay, the monster looks cool. Troy Baker is doing a voice. His character didn't seem super interesting. His performance, he just sounded like Troy Baker. It just sounded like normal Troy Baker speaking. There wasn't anything that stood out to make it super interesting.
Nobody in this game is doing a voice.
Well, I suppose that's true also. No one is doing a voice. And then, bunch of mumbo jumbo, Death Stranding, everyone freaks out again. Don't care. Whatever. Moving on. But that's my thoughts. Do you have any other thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. So the biggest story of the week, obviously, is the Telltale situation. The unfortunate, weird, left field, holy fuck, what the hell? Now, how did you read about this? What happened?
Saw somebody tweeting about it.
Okay, because I remember waking up at like 9 or 9:30, rolling over for my phone, as you do.
Yep.
Opening up Twitter, Telltale's closing down. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's happening now? What? Excuse me? So if you haven't read it, here's the press release that they tweeted out. It says, today Telltale Games made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges. A majority of the company's employees were dismissed earlier this morning, with a small group of 25 employees staying to fulfill the company's obligations to its board and partners. CEO Pete Hawley issued the following statement, quote, "It's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale as we worked to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the games industry." And that is pretty much all that they've officially said. So the story goes that employees rocked up to work. They got called into a meeting, meeting room or whatever.
Yep.
They got told to evacuate, they got told what was happening as much as we basically know, which is that the company is disbanding to a certain point. There's still obviously those 25 employees left. So Telltale Games does exist still. It hasn't exactly, it's not closed. It is still open with 25 employees finishing up what is being reported as their deal with Netflix is apparently what they're finishing up.
The Minecraft interactive TV show, which we talked about on What Do You Want to Watch at some stage, I believe. Or it might have been here, I can't remember.
Or it was here somewhere, I don't even remember where I brought it up. But yeah, so that's their partner obligations, which would make sense.
Yeah.
they would have signed a deal with
Netflix and Xbox. Or Microsoft.
Microsoft, yeah. So that makes sense. But yeah, apparently all the employees rock up. They get told leave. Today, a lot of Telltale employees I already followed on Twitter were, saying that they were going back to the building today that we're recording to gather their items. Like they never even got to grab their stuff the other day when it was announced. They were just like, fuck off,
That's
leave.
weird.
Yeah, I mean it is an all round nasty situation. They're getting no severance pay, no nothing. It's just the games industry, I feel, is one of those industries that we quite often hear about studio closures and everything, and employees just get fucked constantly by the companies they work for, or the higher ups, and the people in suits who run the companies. Really,
yeah.
It's never the people who actually are there making the games, or the creative leads, or anyone in that's there. It's the people up in the high towers with the suits on who just trying to make their money and decide to close places down eventually, or people running these companies horribly that aren't really in it for the games industry. They're just in it to try and run a company, make some money or whatever. Because the Telltale thing to me is just straight up run poorly. It's like you can't watch a company who, how many years ago? When was Telltale Season 1 released? 2011? No, no, I can't even remember now. But it's like that. They have this kind of tiny team, and then they go up, and then crash, plummeting down to now, and that is a cause of poor management. Everything that we've been reading from employees that they've said after they've all left has been that they for years tried to push for many different gameplay changes and different innovations within Telltale products, but simply kept getting told to, make the same game.
Yeah.
So that's not on the people making the game. They're doing a job. You work there. You do.
Yeah.
You're told to a degree. If you're in charge of whatever department, it's not. And these people going on Twitter. There's people going on social media and abusing people who used to work at Telltale because they'll crash and burn in a horrible fire for all I fucking care.
Yeah.
It's like, good Lord. I was looking, sometimes someone's Twitter pops up, like you see it and you're like, they're a troll, but you can't help just scrolling through their Twitter account or something like that just to see. And I saw someone's profile the other day. I was just scrolling through. All they were doing were liking tweets of people basically complaining or saying shitty things about Telltale people because they were upset that they're not going to get the Walking Dead final season. So they're just like, causing for these people to fit these kinds of tweets where they're saying, well, they should just go finish the game. It's like, what? Like, what? So all of these people that just got fired who need new jobs to survive and, be able to live, to feed families, whatever the fuck, they should not go find new jobs or anything like that. They should all get back together at each other's houses and finish The Walking Dead because we as gamers, quote, deserve the fucking final 2 episodes. I'm like, oh God, just fucking kill me now. As a group of people, the quote gamers do some horrible things in recent memory, but this is I'm not saying this is topping it, but at the moment, it's topping it for me for some of the shit. And this is followed by only a couple of weeks ago, people getting shitty about the Nintendo, the tsunami, or was it a tsunami? Or
yeah,
I think so.
Earthquake.
Earthquake. Yeah. The earthquake.
The Direct got delayed.
Yeah, and then they delayed the Direct, and people are on there fucking tweeting, Nintendo should give us a free game because the Direct got delayed. Nintendo should give you a free game because there was an earthquake, and you can.
And they didn't decide to do a promotional video.
Promotional video to try and sell you shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? It doesn't make any sense. What's your reaction though? What's your
Yeah, I was surprised that it was terribly disappointing because obviously I love the Batman Telltale series. I love the Tales of the Borderlands series. I have an appreciation for the Walking Dead series, even though I'm not. I'll probably, maybe I'll finish it now. Although I might not, because now there's no ending.
Yeah.
But I think if we look back, it makes sense. I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy didn't do very well critically or sales-wise, I don't think. They did recently do that re-release of the first 3 seasons, which is probably like a quick money grab.
They were looking for money. Yeah, they were looking for money.
You look at it now, you go, yeah, they were kind of looking for money. And they hadn't announced anything new, whereas before they'd had a bunch of things in the works. Like Walking Dead came out 2012. Okay, they've done at least 2 games a year since then. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe the licensing fees were a lot cutting into their costs, or I don't know. Yeah,
well, it's
tough to say.
It seems like they had a lot of people unnecessarily, and obviously I'm not a game developer, so I can't. But 200 or nearly 300 people at that company, it just seems like a lot, especially because they are based in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's asking for trouble. You should. Let's be honest. Nobody should be working in the Bay Area.
It just seems like a very expensive company where, obviously everyone who you live there, you have to pay a lot. Everyone knows that. But then obviously they would be getting paid a higher amount too because they live there.
Yeah,
that's just the cost comes up. So then, it just seems like you're asking for trouble at some degree. But yeah, once again, that's management problem. But they did seem like they were going to turn around their problems. The Wolf Among Us 2 was
in the
supposedly going to be this new, their new engine, all these new features. So that would have been. It is quite ridiculous to a degree to think about the fact that all of Telltale's run. Well, I mean, they did games before The Walking Dead Season 1, but all of Telltale's run in their big success story, all the same engine.
Yeah.
No, never changed. Well, they updated it a little bit, and, I thought
Batman's cape looked really good.
The first episode of The Walking Dead Season 4 was a lot better than Season 3, but it was all just same engine, little tweaks and stuff like that, which is, it's interesting.
It makes sense because making an engine is not cheap.
No.
Apparently they have no money.
But yeah, I mean, I feel bad trying to pinpoint, maybe here you should have invested in the engine, in Walking Dead Season 2 era, what did they do wrong, all these sorts of things, how would you have better, but it really doesn't matter in the long run.
It kind of feels like they grew too fast.
Yeah. Way too fast for their bridges. What's the saying? Is that it? Yeah. Got it? Close? Something along those lines. But, I do feel really bad for the...
Yeah.
Imagine walking into work, you're fired, you can't get your shit, you're not getting any severance pay, see you later, go home. And then you go home, you sit down on the couch, obviously you're upset, you open up Twitter, and you've got people abusing you because they're not going to get to see the end of Clementine's fucking story, even though you, as one of the creatives on that game, want nothing more than to help get that story out for people to see. And it's completely out of your hands. It does my fucking head in. I
mean, it's not surprising, let's be honest.
No.
You've been on the internet.
I have. It's not the greatest place to be quite often, but yeah, I mean, I was getting annoyed with the other day because it was reaching a stage where I was just seeing more and more people complaining about and here's the other thing, and it's worth pointing out. The only official statement that they've released is this one that I just read out.
Yeah.
And you can read between the lines as much as you want, and you can read between the lines of what ex-employees are saying and whatever else. However, whatever you're reading from ex-employees, they really don't know what's happening because they were fired and kicked out of the building.
And not told anything, yeah.
And not told anything. So whatever they're telling you is them guessing for a lot of it, you know? It's them just saying, well, I think this is what's going to happen. And all these stories of people saying The Walking Dead final season's cancelled. I'm at 99% because it makes sense.
Because there's nobody at that company.
There's only 25 people there, whatever else.
Unless they had it like made before, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know at what stage the last 2 episodes were at.
And I understand, obviously, if the season's not going to finish, people want refunds. I will want a refund as well.
Yeah. But who are you going to get the refund from?
Well, I mean, I will try for a refund as will everyone else, obviously. Who's going to pay it? I don't know. I don't think it's... But my thing is, I don't think it's important to worry about it at the moment. And I didn't think that worrying about a refund the same day that everyone was fired was appropriate. It felt...
It's like talking about gun control and after...
Not quite. It just felt...
Just not appropriate, Dylan.
It just felt bad taste to me. Because my thing is, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. We all want refunds. Okay. But here's the thing. All of us had enough money to buy that season pass. None of us was sitting around. Anyone who brought that season pass wasn't sitting around that afternoon unable to buy their lunch because they needed that $30, $35, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know? Right? So I'm just like, it can wait a couple of days, surely. Just wait a couple of days until, the people who got fired got their stuff from the building at least.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I understand. We all want them. We want the refunds. But it did just feel a little bit off to me personally to be screaming about refunds 12 hours after 250 people were fired abruptly from company. And I mean, that's one, it's one thing to email Sony and whatever and be asking about refunds.
Yeah.
That's whatever, your business. I don't even care. My main problem is obviously with the people on Twitter screaming about it and tweeting at the people who
I think tweeting at the ex-employees is a step over.
If
you just want to scream into the void or to your followers, knock yourself out. But
that's disgusting behavior. That's where you're and people are looking for reasons. I've seen whole threads of people being tweeted at saying the reason Telltale failed is they hired too many women, and obviously Gamergators or whatever trying to say that's the reason.
No, I heard it was the opposite. I heard they were saying that members of the Telltale staff were Trump supporters.
God, what the fuck? Yep. It's ridiculous, but I there's a time and a place where I will want to say to get I'm not even mad or upset about the whole Walking Dead not being able to finish the story currently, because I don't think it matters to me personally at this stage, and I don't think it should matter to anyone else at this stage, really. I understand if your reaction, because obviously my initial reaction, read the story like, fuck, Walking Dead. But then when you read 250 got fired, my emotional, my order of what's more important was, okay, well, that doesn't really fucking matter anymore. Like, oh no, I'm not going to get The Wolf Among Us season 2. Yes, that's annoying. However, like I saw someone tweeting, I waited 2 years for that. It's like, motherfucker, someone worked on that for 2 years. What the fuck do you mean that's a bigger problem to you? Like, you waited 2 years for it. You didn't wait 2 years for it. You were excited for a game.
Things get cancelled all the time.
Yeah, shit gets cancelled all the time. It's like, what about the people that spent years of fucking life working on it? And you're upset that you're not going to get to pay for something that got cancelled when... Fuck you fucking dickhead. This is... Get me riled up, Ash. That's what it does.
Do you think we ever see the end of Clem's story in some fashion?
Well, this is what I'm saying. This is Telltale will have to put out an official word on that, because the internet is mostly just full of confusion. Because for as many stories as you want to read that say Walking Dead season 4 not coming, it's like, okay, yes, we can all jump to that conclusion, and it probably isn't. However, by not coming, does that mean full stop not coming at all, or not coming in video game fashion? We've teamed up with someone to help, just release the script.
Or if the Skybound or Image decide, hey, we're going to do a small animated series.
So, something like that, sure, And they could be talking about stuff like that would help them. If someone was willing to pay, that would be also a way for them to get money to help finalize and closure up the company. It would also help them to get money to fucking pay the people they just fired. But that's a whole
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait because is there a chance we get the last 2 episodes? 0.1%. Is there a chance we get to see the story told in some other fashion? I'd say there's at least a small chance and something being worked out, especially because of the outcry of fans over this, including the horrible people that are tweeting horrible, nasty things about it. So if we don't see the end of it, what a story in video game history. Like, that's the only thing. Like, it'll just
goes
go
up
down
there with Half-Life 2.5.
Yeah, it goes
6.
up there with the unfinished. And that'll be the only takeaway from that. If that's really what happens, that they only got 1 episode out. They're 3. If they release episode 2 and they're just, it's like, well, they got halfway through the last season and it never
ends on a cliffhanger.
just ends. It's the thing. Oh. And my initial reaction was, follow up on that. My initial reaction, and when I was tweeting about it, was, I will not play the second episode. And the only reason for that was, in my mind, why would I want to, if it's just going to end on a cliffhanger?
Get more invested in something.
Yeah, it's like, what is the point? It just seems like a waste of time. I saw some Telltale employees tweeting about it. Most of them saying, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to, but at the same time, we worked pretty hard on it. We think it's really good. Reading that stuff made me go, well, maybe, I play it out of respect for the people who worked on it, I guess, especially since I've already fucking paid for the thing.
For it.
If I'm not going to get a refund, especially, it's like, well,
yeah, might as well,
I suppose. So it's an interesting thing. I'm sure some more news will be coming out in the next week or 2. They can't drag this out for too long, I suppose, without giving an official answer on what exactly is going to happen with The Walking Dead. What is the company going forward? Is it these 25 people finish up and then they let go as well, and then Telltale officially closes, or is it they finish up this Netflix deal and Telltale's now a company of 25 people and they try and rebuild? Because if they try and rebuild,
is successful,
it's like,
I don't know.
You have no good karma or press or anything.
Yeah, it's a long way back.
It's left in that company at all at this stage. So, yeah, that's my main thing. We've got 1 press release. We need the follow up. I feel we need a legit interview done with, your IGNs, your Polygons, your Kotakus. Someone we need. The
Jason
CEO.
Schreier is currently on his honeymoon. I checked.
Yeah.
So when he gets back,
we're fucked. When he gets back, we'll have the answers.
Or Patrick Levick, come on.
Patrick Levick, someone do the work that I need to see done here, because that was the thing that was annoying me the other day was, I saw so many conflicting
stories,
stories and reports, and people
complete
closure,
25 people staying on.
It's like what is all happening? It's like, and then I would literally scroll down and see one story that says Telltale confirms that Walking Dead season 4 is not ending. One below says Walking Dead season 4 may continue. It's just like, where are you getting all this information from, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you read into it and everyone's like, well, this person said this, the ex-employee said this, the CEO said this, the ex-CEO who's fucking suing them said this, the press release, if you read between the lines, says this. I'm like, okay, I understand that we're all kind of reaching the same conclusions, reading between the lines, that the final season is probably not going to happen. But I feel much safer writing a news story that says this is definitely happening, if you can actually say, here's the definite reason, we're not guessing, reading into the lines or something like that. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be interesting as it's gonna be really interesting as it continues, and yeah, I'll get sad about not being able to finish the whole Clementine. Like, I'm staying away. These articles I've seen, like IGN's put up, like, you know, Telltale history, and seen other ones, you know, the best moments of Clementine, all this sort of stuff. I'm just like, I'm staying away from that shit.
Do you reckon a studio like EA or THQ Nordic or somebody could come in and like fund the last?
Who are they?
I mean, they haven't got any staff, which is the only issue. Well, it's a big issue.
Who are they paying to do it?
Yeah, exactly. Unless they take it away
gonna pay
and they
those
do it.
25 people to finish 2 episodes.
Yeah, or they just hire all the people who got fired, or some of the people who got fired.
They won't
need jobs,
come back.
believe it or
I
not.
wouldn't come back if I was them. So, and I mean, here's the other thing. And people are like, well, why can't a studio? Why can't someone else buy Telltale? It's like, what are they buying?
Yeah.
At this stage, what are they buying?
They are buying, let's see,
They're buying the
Sam
name.
and Max.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, probably, yeah. They're buying Sam and Max.
Tales of Monkey Island.
They actually
I don't know if they actually own that. That might
surely
be,
Lucasfilm.
that might have been licensed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a come in buy. The company solve the scenario.
Yeah.
It's not really the same. Even when you compare it to another situation, say with TV early in your Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when you look at a scenario like that, it's like the show's cancelled, right? So then for that deal to work, who swooped in and saved that?
NBC.
NBC. So NBC has to swoop in. They have to then buy the show from Fox, because Fox still own the rights to it or whatever.
I don't think so. I think it's whoever the production company is.
Or whoever the production...
Which is an NBC affiliate, I'm pretty sure was the story.
Okay. Well, Fox would have still had rights.
They would have had to get some money or something. But
yeah, they would have buy money, but then they have to make everyone else agree. It's just one of those things. People read those stories, they're like, well, okay, so someone just walked into the room, and then all the crew involved, from makeup artists to the stars, were just all packed up into a suitcase, and they just happily crossed across the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, Telltale just fired basically all of their staff. So anyone swooping in to quote unquote save the studio, they can't. It's done.
No,
if someone wanted to swoop in and save the studio, they needed to have done it 3 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, THQ Nordic needed to knock on.
Damn, why did they spend all their money on Second Sight and
Alone in Dark and shit?
Yeah.
But they should have knocked on Telltale's door 3 months ago. Said, hey, there's a lot of people in here. I can tell you ain't making enough money to fucking feed all these employees. Now, look, I'm willing to buy yous, move yous, ship yous, and sell yous. Let's go. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
They're like, look, a couple months from now, we're going to announce that we're fucking buying up all these properties. You want to be the first one out the gate? Come with us. But yeah, no one can swoop in and save that property. Now, to save certain properties, maybe. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's when you get into the complicated conundrum of it all. It's like, okay, The Walking Dead is called Telltale's The Walking Dead. So Telltale would own like a small...
The name Telltale.
The Telltale and like maybe the story element, something. But for the most part, it's Walking Dead. So the property is owned by Skybound,
Image.
Robert Kirkman,
Yeah.
fucking whatever, however that works. Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
And people associated own that. So Telltale gets rid of what little they own of that. They give it back to the Skybound or Kirkman or whoever. Kirkman, we're just going to refer to whoever is this as Kirkman for now. We're just going to assume Kirkman owns all of Walking Dead. Kirkman collects the little bit from Telltale that they owned of the property, and then he could sell it off to another developer to finish, presumably.
Yeah.
This is the only way I could see it.
That's the only way this could...
Yes.
I think probably Walking Dead of all their properties is the hardest one to see continuation.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you look at Batman and Wolf Among Us, they're owned by WB. WB has their own line of games.
That's not going to happen. And here's the other thing.
It could happen.
They finished Batman, at least.
Yeah,
we wanted a third season. Yes, we did. But Am I going to cry about not getting the third season of Batman? No. Because at least the season ended. At least the season ended. You know?
It did. There was a conclusion.
There was a conclusion. It wasn't one episode in. The two big properties, obviously, are Walking Dead, because that's what's currently airing, and The Wolf Among Us, because that's what was coming up and that's what people were working on next and excited for, because that was going to be the first thing. That is owned by... What fucking company publishes that? I can't even remember now.
It's published by Vertigo, so owned by WB.
Oh,
Warner Brothers, yeah.
So, all back in there. So, yeah, so that's just fucked. Yeah.
You can have
Walking Dead is the only one with potential for savior, I feel. And Sam and Max. Sell it to someone so we can get another Sam and Max game.
I also heard Netflix is shopping around Stranger Things again. Because that was the other game in the works.
Oh,
so...
Dear. What a
story.
Yeah.
And we probably only scratched the surface of it.
Yes. I'm waiting for someone, the Jason
tell-all
Schreiers,
interview.
whatever, to dig in there for us.
What was the studio that closed the Star Wars studio?
Visceral?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Story like that.
Yeah. Well, there's another one. It's like they were working on a game for 4 years. I don't know,
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Something like that. People are like, well, I was really looking forward to that game, but thanks for not fucking giving it to me. It's like, motherfucker, that game.
To be fair, they were blaming EA, not necessarily the studio.
Yeah, and who they blaming for fucking Telltale?
Well, there's no higher up, so they have to blame Telltale.
Look, if you're one of these people out here who are like, if you're out there screaming that Walking Dead's not going to finish, you're like, I'm so upset, Walking Dead's not going to finish, and yet, for the last 2 seasons or whatever, you were one of these people who waited until the season pass was on sale for 40% off at Christmas time before you picked it up and brought it. I'm not saying you're the problem, but you certainly didn't help.
Yep.
You know, like you shouldn't feel bad for picking up stuff on Christmas sale, but
then you
at the same time,
you're not entitled to feel bad the other way.
Yeah,
but they didn't have enough money to make things.
Paying full price, exactly supporting them. So, no.
My takeaway is independent suck. Join a massive corporation.
Yeah, gaming industry should unionize. That's a thing. I'm actually in the Australian Discord where they're trying to unionize. Not because I'm obviously in the industry, but I do find it interesting to read people's conversations about it because it's an interesting
subject
to read about. Yeah, and this is obviously one of the biggest. I mean, there's often big cases for it, but here's just another example of a reason for it. But you know, I presume that everything is going to turn out all right in the most part for the people that were let go, because you know you saw
the online Ubisoft, support from other studios and everything has been incredible. So that's been great, which has shown that on the developer side of the game industry, very supportive for one another, fantastic. On the people who play game side, trash people. Just trash. And look, we're in there. And I'm sorry, Ash, but we're trash.
We are just trash. Okay? Developers, good job. You are all lovely people. I'm glad you all supported each other. People who play games, trash. Horrible human beings.
So what you're saying is all our listeners are terrible human beings.
Yous are all
unless you're people. Developing a game and not playing any games.
Unless you're both, at which point you're a terrible developer. All right, let's move towards wrapping up the show. I think that's enough Telltale
depression
talk. You know, the horrible thing, but it does seem like everyone's that work there is hopefully going to land on their feet and see what happens moving forward on the property franchise area. So hashtag every trophy counts. Guns between, easy platinum. I'm currently, now I shouldn't get replaced and someone has taken their PlayStation off, platinum this in the wilderness and has yet to sync their platinum, but I'm currently 4th in the world for that platinum. I was trying so hard because we got the game nice and early. I was trying hard to be number 1. I couldn't figure out what one of the fucking trophies was for though. And after trying for so long to work it out, I was like, I've got other shit to do. I'm just gonna have to put this down and wait until it's out and I can ask for help. And I wrote on the forums the day it came out and was like, can someone tell me what this fucking trophy is? And someone was like, this is what it is. And then I quickly turned on my PlayStation at like 10 o'clock in the morning as soon as someone responded, got the trophy in like 2 seconds, and then got the platinum. I was like, fuck, if I could figure this shit. And it was easy. I was just being very oblivious to what the trophy actually meant. But for the most part, that is a very easy platinum that gives you a bunch of golds as well.
I don't know.
So.
Yeah, you're 10 days behind the first guy, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I can't remember exactly when it was a week. There was a week. So
you were only like 5 hours after number 3.
Could have been that top 3. Fuck, so close. But yeah, that's yeah. I'm in the top 50 at least. My name's somewhere.
You did beat the 5th place by an hour, so
yeah. Fine. Yeah, there's probably one of a person like me, like, I can't figure out this fucking trophy. I was just trying to fucking work it out. The Life is Strange 2 trophies have gone up on the server. They basically looks like the first game's list. Very similar. There are a bunch of chapter related trophies or like a couple. And then there's the majority for each episode is going to be optional collectibles. They don't say what they are, which is the thing, I guess, because it just says collect optional collectibles.
So well, you assume it's not going to be a camera again.
Yeah, you assume it's not going to be taking photos. So whatever that happens to be, it might be drawings though, because each game has a thing for each episode has a trophy that says start a drawing. So I'm like, okay, do you get that for doing it? And then maybe the collectibles are for finishing the drawings. Maybe each episode is one big drawing. At certain parts in the game, there's sections where you can sit down to do like a segment of the drawing,
and then if you or something,
a sketchbook or something along those lines. And then there's certain places where you can make the character sit down and do that. And then by the end of the episode, if you've stopped at all the points, they've drawn the entire picture, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's me obviously reading into it, but there you go. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the same trophy list from the first game.
Yep.
They got cool little sketchbook pictures for the trophy pictures as well, which look pretty cool. And the artwork for the main picture that appears on your trophy. It's like the side on one of them like walking down the road or whatever. Like that's what's going to be in your list when you click in trophies there.
That's out this week, right?
Yep, out this Thursday. Yeah, I guess it would be Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can look forward to
Beyond the Strange. Next week.
Beyond the Strange. It'll be happening on, I don't know.
A day.
I was going to one day, several days after the episode is finished. At some point, at least by next week, it'll be happening.
That is a Life is Strange 2 after show podcast. Yep. If you didn't realize.
Yeah, that's true. Probably should have said. Yeah, so we'll be obviously discussing the episode in full spoiler territory. We'll be streaming on Twitch, so you can head on over there. But then if you don't watch live, it'll be on
podcast services,
YouTube's and the podcast services and all those sorts of places. So just search for Beyond the Strange on podcast services. You can subscribe to it right now. I've got the theme song thing up there as a means to have it live on services to be able to subscribe to, because you do need something on there before you can stick it up on iTunes. There you go. Hollow Knight's trophies are also out. It's basically just come do everything in the game. One of the trophies is get 112 or 113%, which is basically 100% the main game plus the DLC packs they've added on, which come included with the game. So fuck that. No, thank you. We'll not be doing that. But it's exciting for those looking to the Platinum Hollow Knight, which is a great game that I'll probably never finish because it's hard and scary. Well, it's not really scary. It's just
hard.
It's hard, which makes it scary. It's like it's not horror movie scary. It's I don't want to fight the boss because it's gonna kill me and it's hard scary. But yeah, great game. South Australian developer. So pick that up if you haven't already picked it up on PC or Switch where it was previously available. And then the last set of trophies that popped were the Spyro, all 3 games. Really great trophy pictures. I really like that they've got these great pictures for this game. They're not just... I was worried they would do something kind of boring, like just eggs of different variations of color, or, you know... That's the go-to boring we gave zero fucks about our trophies, is when they just have the same picture for all the bronze trophies, and then like the silver ones just like a silver version of the picture, and the gold one's a gold version of the picture. I was worried they'd do that with like eggs or a fucking dragon statue or something for this, but they're all great. They all look good. I'm happy with it. For the most part, the trophy list for each game just seems like 100%. If you 100% of these on PS1 back in the day, the trophy list just looks like 100% the game. And by doing that, you will probably get 99% of the trophies. Maybe there's a couple random things in there that you have to actually go do in the specific levels, but there's nothing that seems hard at all. And of course, the big thing is, and I mean, if you wasn't expecting this, I don't know, but all 3 games, 1 platinum per each, much like the Crash collection, which to me, I saw people saying, wow, that's great. And I was like, that's what they did for Crash. Like,
yeah.
It'd be really weird if this came out and they said, you know, it's one list for all 3 games. That would be ridiculous. So
they might not all be on the disc, but you can still get 3 platinums.
But you'll still be able to get 3 platinums. Yeah, that is correct. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to these. Hopefully, I these are a lot easier platinums than Crash. So that is the other thing. These are a lot simpler, easier platinums than the Crash games. These don't have weird time trials of make you want to throw your controller across the room. And even Spyro 1, which I believe, and obviously I haven't played the game yet, but they fixed and made control better than Spyro 1. Because Spyro 1 was the hardest to go back and play, because in the original he controlled like a fucking tank. It was like you'd be charging at something, trying to chase it down you got to charge at these dudes who carry eggs or whatever to take them down. It'd be like, you'd be pressing right on your controller. It's like, motherfucker, turn right! And it's just like, he was not turning at all. The second game, and especially the third game, became a lot more nimble because in those games you got more moves and stuff. It's like you defeat it. It was the whole system of, you know, you beat a boss, you've unlocked a new special move. You can now jump up in the air and press square to do a head dive at the ground. Oh, you can now fly for longer, etc., etc. So they had to got a lot more nimble as it went on. But in the first game, it was very simple. You pressed a button to fucking breathe fire, and you could charge at shit, and that was it. So, and it controlled like garbage, but you didn't really care back then. But when I went back and tried to play it in early PS, I think I tried to play it as like a classic or something, early PS3 days or something, whenever they added them. I was like, holy hell, how did anyone play this? But it's the same as the first Tomb Raider, controlled fucking horribly as well. She controlled like a 90-degree turning tank also. So it was just the way games were designed or something, I think. But excited to earn me some Spyro Platinum. Thank you for joining us this week on Platinum Explosion. It's been an interesting one. We've covered all sorts of subjects this week. It was a big news week, of course.
We've been happy, we've been depressed, we've been excited.
We've covered all your emotions. What more could you possibly need? That is right. So you can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. Where can people follow you, Ash?
Find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. It's a thing.
It certainly is. You can follow this show on Twitter at Platt Podcast. Don't forget to head on over to Apple Podcasts, where you can rate the show 5 stars, 4 stars if you felt this one was a little bit too long, 3 stars if you're feeling a bit mean, 1 star if you didn't like the part where I called you names, but it's probably true anyway. You can also head on over to our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord, where you can talk about all the things like the Spyro Platinums. You can get in there and be like, Dylan, how do I get this trophy? And I'll be like, look, I don't know how you asked me this question yet. The game's not out, but I'll tell you how, because I'll work it out, and I'll be smart like that, and I'll help you out. This is a product of the Explosion Network, of which you can find many more things, shows, articles, news, reviews, and many more podcast services. Lots of things for you to digest through your mouth and news, the holes. explosionnetwork.com. Follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. And until next week, support devs that you like, and don't be an arsehole on the internet. Plat, bye-bye.
What Dylan said is, don't buy any games on sale. Only pay full price.
if you're trying to twist my words there, actually, Hobley.